Get it together, guys. We're here.
Are we live right now?
We're live.
I think so.
Hey, guys. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, to another glorious episode of Clickbait Sports. We have a jam-packed episode for you guys. After missing Thanksgiving, we do hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Joining me for this epic show, which we have prepared extensively.
We actually have. Dead serious. Not joking.
Above me, it is Brandon Perna. To his right, Urinating Tree. To his right, 5 Points Vids. And underneath, the reigning Fan of the Year, TDG, Thomas, Daniel Grassi. Guys, what are the vibes like first off? How was your Thanksgiving? Let me know.
Mine, I think I say this every year. My mom is from Thailand. She prepares a feast that is unbeatable. We have Thai food. We got drunken noodles. And then I also, to add a layer of it, we had a smoked turkey. We had a regular turkey. We had ham. We had all that stuff, but also Thai food. But I also introduced the new person to the family, and she did very well under the pressure cooker of meeting my mother.
There we go.
That's nice.
She did very well. So
What about
we'll
everyone
see
else?
how this one goes.
The first time Jess met my family was for I think it was my parents' 30th wedding anniversary, and it was a party at their house. So she met the entire extended family. It wasn't just like, hey, this is your parents and your sister. This was here's the whole shebang. So that's a good litmus test, Adam.
It is a good test.
How did Jess do on the litmus test?
Well, we got married, so
That's fair.
I'm thinking pretty good.
Jury's still out, is what you're saying.
She's willing to tolerate your family shenanigans. I understand.
How many years have you been married, Brandon?
8.
Okay.
Coming up,
Starting to get serious.
2 more for a decade.
Okay.
Tree or Tom, how was the Thanksgiving?
You or me?
You can go, Tree. You go, Tree. Yeah, you go.
Oh, he spoke.
I know. I was
I
being
have
nice.
to say, I mean, I was just low-key Thanksgiving. Spent it with the cousins. I was in the radio listening to Matt Eberflus lose his job, and I'm just sitting there like, what? Oh, that was the Matt Eberflus flute. He'll need that, especially when it comes for the timeouts. I mean, but most of the time it was just a lot of food. I have enough leftovers to still feed an army. I'm still chipping away at that. Made a mean mac and cheese and mashed sweet potatoes. It was good stuff.
Nice.
There we go. And now, were there
Getting hungry.
vegan options at your Thanksgiving?
Vegan Thanksgiving, brother. This I'm come from a Polish, a German,
not
and a
you,
Northern
not
Italian.
you, not you. Tom.
Okay.
No, I streamed. I worked all Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I streamed the morning game with Perna and then did a video afterwards because I got to watch the Bears lose in hilarious fashion. And then I streamed the Packers game and did videos after that. So, it's great Thanksgiving. I loved it.
That is fair. I also streamed the Cowboys game, but we actually hosted Thanksgiving at my house. I think that's the way to go. Then people were just coming in and out of the stream, but good Thanksgiving all around. Chat, we hope you had a good Thanksgiving as well. We know who might not have had a good post-Thanksgiving. We can just jump directly into Matt Eberflus getting fired after the Bears loss. Was this shocking or surprising to any of you?
I mean, honestly, to fire one of the best head coaches in the NFL is like that's a bold move from the Bears. But the good thing about the Bears is they have been so competitive for the past, 30 years that they're constantly in the playoff rush. They know how to, run their organization. They have their franchise quarterbacks that they've had for the past few years, elite offensive line. So yeah, I think this really came out of nowhere. It was a shock that they would let a premium talent like Matt Eberflus go.
They're a model of how an organization should be run in the NFL.
It's true.
Just completely
The Giants
zipped up. And
You might
to
get
echo
fired.
that, to echo that, I don't think Eberflus did anything wrong. That's exactly how I would have played the end of the game. I would have not burned the timeout and just watched my rookie quarterback expire all those seconds down to 0, because winning's really overrated. It's stupid. I don't think winning is anything.
all
It
of you
should be
guys.
anybody's goal.
Do you think it was the presser that ultimately led to him being fired? Was it his answer to that question? Yeah, I think we did everything. I would have done it the same way.
I think the fact that you had the organization push him out there the day after and say, hey, go do this press conference, which was a cataclysmic failure in of itself, and then fired him going, oh, well, we didn't know if we were going to fire him or not. And you still sent him out there for the presser. I feel like what are we doing out here?
He thought he was going to coach against the 49ers. He said that.
He's like, oh, we're on to the 49ers. All right.
And the thing was, Poles actually wanted to fire him after that Patriots debacle, which they should have. They played like shit. Sorry for, I mean, that's, I know Scooter, but I mean,
great all year.
I mean, they've been playing fantastic, but I will say, I mean, I think the McCaskey said no, but I'm looking forward to Caleb Williams on the Steelers in 3 years, and we will complete the cycle.
True story. One time I worked for a corporation and they held a pizza party right before the holidays and then laid off the entire department right after. That reminded me of the Matt Eberflus situation. It's like, oh, we really appreciate you. Here's your pink slip.
At least you got
that is crazy. Tree, what is something else that is crazy that you could click right now?
Ooh, yes, I could, honestly. Are we talking about something something Underdog related? Very true.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Underdog, the partner of the stream, giving us degenerates cheer. Test your might and skill with a pick'em game. Higher or lower, the choices are never the same. Daily promos throughout the NFL season, a feast on your plate. Here's a special code to make things sweeter. Clickbait. Get up to $1,000 in bonus cash in your first deposit. A special pick in the lobby, there will be no respite. Oh, Underdog, you fill us with glee. Always remember to play responsibly.
Absolutely. Once again,
I appreciate the rhyme scheme, Tree. I appreciate the effort that you put in there to make some rhymes go. You know, it's not going unnoticed. I appreciate it.
I tried to make it Christmassy. That's all.
You're like the Eminem of football guys.
Do y'all have a favorite Christmas song? Like one that you just jam out to? Like, or at least can tolerate when it's on?
Anything by 9 Inch Nails, really.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Known Christmas artist Trent Reznor. Yes.
Yep.
Christmas was Trent Reznor. You got the Joker coming out?
I pretty much enjoy most Christmas music. You got to try hard to mess up Christmas music, honestly. You got to be doing something. But we are talking about the biggest surprises of the NFL race so far this season. And we're all going to go around and say one thing about our team that also was the biggest surprise for our teams this year. Who would like to volunteer to go first?
Before we do that, can we all, I want to see if we're all on the same page with this. How do we feel about this Trevor Lawrence hit and kind of everything that's happened after that? Aziz being suspended for 3 games, him saying that I'm the Joker now, you know, you want me to be a villain, I'll be a villain. I'm just curious of kind of, because that seems, we were talking about this on GPS a lot yesterday, very divisive on the internet when I did not think it was going to be divisive at all.
Oh, dude, a lot of people are blaming Trevor for this, which I'm surprised by. But
for doing what he's supposed to do, which is slide.
Because everybody's like, "Oh, you're slud." It's like, "Oh, he got what he deserved." It's like, dude, he deliberately targeted the guy.
I will say this: if it was a different player without a history of bad hits, late hits, I don't think the punishment would have been 3 games. First of all.
Or if he continued the fight afterwards, like literally went back to the sideline and started fighting with them. Yeah, it might not have been 3
games. He still kept going. It's like
I don't think if it was another player without the history, it would have been 3 games. I think, you know, from his perspective, he's saying maybe his head was down and he couldn't see that the slide was happening. If it was a different player, I can understand. I can get there. I can get there personally.
Wait, you're telling me that the guy who did this is considered a volatile person?
Because no flag was thrown on the play. They cannot create a foul. for that punch. That will have to come during the week through discipline.
Yeah, a dude who punches a bear randomly. That's a paragon. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I always love the
history-
logic of punching someone with the
is
helmet
crazy.
on.
He's not the only person who's done that this year. Trent Williams did it too.
It's
But I just can't believe some people are sitting up there and, like you guys said, victim blaming Trevor Lawrence for not sliding sooner. In my opinion, I don't think he could have slid any sooner. If you pause that and you look at it frame by frame, Trevor Lawrence did what he was supposed to do. Whether or
Yes.
not the hit was intentional or not, that's not. I can't tell you either way. But
I think
looked at
you're
the history,
talking about if it were somebody else, Scooter.
yes, someone else without the history. That's not a 3-game suspension.
The most
It's-
forgivable person, who would be the most forgivable person to make that hit outside of like a kicker?
Matt
The kicker,
Milano.
you're like, oh, the kicker just doesn't know what the hell he's doing when he's trying to tackle. Which defensive player seems like the least likely person to do a dirty hit? That's what we got to figure out.
Ooh.
That's true. That's true.
I'd say probably like a good Samaritan. I would say
Cooper DeJean would not he would be mortified. He would start a charity for the guy that he hit, and then just complete I just don't see Cooper DeJean hitting somebody like dirty.
He's
like
very
that.
nice. Me and
He's
Tom-
very he is very serious about football too. He is no nonsense about football. I will Scooter. I am so every single time I hear Cooper DeJean's name and he has a highlight, all I think about is you. It is absolutely phenomenal.
Did y'all see that perfect form tackle that he
Yeah,
nailed
dude.
on Derrick
yeah.
Henry?
Yes.
It's just
so
such an example that you should
upset.
show. Yes, every
Like,
child who
We
wants to play
interviewed
football.
the man. Then
Yep.
he gets drafted to the Eagles. This has happened to me twice now, where I meet someone, they're dope, a nice individual, cool, and then they go to the Eagles. Jordan Davis was the first person. He was so cool.
Yeah.
And now he's on the Eagles. I cannot wait for his contract to be up. I hope they do not resign him, but they're going to. It's just, it sucks. It sucks. And speaking of the Eagles, let's stay on the side tangent. I really need to know because I have biases that prevent me from fully allowing this to be true. Where do you have the Eagles right now? Are the Eagles actually good, or do the Eagles just always get some weird stuff happening, miss kicks? Let me know because I need to know. I'm too biased to actually.
Justin Tucker was bad, but the Eagles just straight up outmuscled the Ravens on Sunday. I mean, that was the first real time the Ravens, I feel like, were straight up beaten, even without Justin Tucker's missed kicks. So I would say, I mean, they've gotten a lot better over the last few weeks. They're finally using Saquon. They're finally getting the offensive line going. Jalen Hurts doesn't have to do every single thing, which has really helped out that offense as well. I think they really balanced their defense has come into its own as well. So I'm still skeptical about Nick Sirianni. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Previous bias, but they look really good right now. Can't deny that.
They look really good to you.
Yes.
I'll echo that. The Eagles are playing so well that they're winning despite Nick Sirianni, and that's scary. He's trying everything he can.
Are they playing well, or are they just getting benefits of randomness every single week?
Dude, you want the benefit? Look at the Chiefs. They're the ones getting the benefits, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Are the Eagles the NFC Chiefs? That's my question.
No.
Or are
You want the
they
NFC Chiefs, you're looking at the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings are that team. The Eagles are good. I actually laid pretty heavy on them to beat the Ravens because in the big games the Ravens don't seem to show up, and they did not. And it's annoying. It's bothersome, but the Eagles are figuring things out, and they're doing it despite Nick Sirianni being on their sideline. So the one thing that's hard to beat is when they can just run the ball, and Saquon isn't just a running back. He's a superstar, and he's jamming it down people's throats. It's painful to watch.
This is by the way, real quick, that's a total toss up that game. I picked the Cardinals, but I have zero faith in either team.
It's going to be a shit show.
I have
feel like
no
the Seahawks
idea.
are going to just stumble and fall apart and just like, oh, here's a win.
But to your Eagles, though, like I do have them ranked number 1 right now. And the reason is I do, because the Lions, they dropped down a couple spots for me because everybody and their mother's on IR on that defense. So I think they're vulnerable. On top of that, the other team I think you could put at number 1 is the Bills, which I think is rightfully so. But in terms of the competition this week, the 49ers are like the most decimated team in the league.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think beating the 49ers is really all it's trumped up to be. The Bills have been really, really good. I'm not trying to bring them down at all. But I think in terms of the way that the Eagles are beating football teams is insanely sustainable, in which really good defense, which has been really good. They're on an 8-game winning streak right now.
Yes.
Some of those opponents have not been very good, granted. But again, they can't control that. They're beating who's in front of them. But the way they're doing it is with really good defense, which just seems to be getting better as the season goes along. And they're running
Mitchell, Quinion Island.
Like, dude, they're not a first half team. They were down 9-0, right? They popped back up in that second quarter and they took the lead. And I think just you can beat a lot of football teams with a really good defense and a great run game. Like, you could beat a lot of teams.
It reminds me of the Ravens, actually, that won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. It was a superior defense. They did not rely on their quarterback, really, to win them the Super Bowl. And so maybe the Eagles are doing that. I did say they are not fraudulent. I'm not ready to just anoint them as great. I got them good. I got them in the good section because they don't have that signature win where
Ravens.
It's not like,
that
was your signature win, dude. They clamped down one of the best offenses in football,
and they were away.
What I'm saying is that during that game, the kicker, it was really, if Justin Tucker's not missing those kicks, it's a much closer game, and they might not win.
But that last drive doesn't happen if Justin Tucker makes those, because Lamar Jackson was able just to stroll down the field and get like 40 yards in a single play. That defense is not playing like that if they're not up 2 scores.
Of course.
I think, like, Scooter, like, in your opinion, like, you look at the top teams in the NFC, right? The Lions are up there. A healthy Lions team is up there. I think the Eagles are definitely up there. We'll see what the Packers look like tonight. I think they're kind of like borderline. It depends on how good they're going to be. But the NFC, I don't know if there's a team that's much better than the Eagles, except maybe the Lions right this second. And again, they're injured to hell.
Vastly defensive.
You don't think that the Packers can beat the Eagles, Thomas?
I mean, they lost week 1 against them. I mean, I think in terms of that, like, defense, if the Packers are a little banged up right now, nothing compared to the Lions, but they are banged up. Jair is not playing again. Romeo's still in concussion protocol. They don't have Edgerrin Cooper. I think the Packers are going to win tonight, and I think that they are going to be sitting pretty when it comes to the postseason. But yeah, postseason, all bets are off. I'm just saying, if Philly gets that number 1 seed, which I think is very possible, because the Lions do have to play the Bills coming up, and that's going to be a really interesting game.
That's going to be
and they got to play the Vikings. They're playing the Packers tonight. They still got to play the Bears. You know, all those teams have played them really close. I think the Eagles are just, if they clinch home field advantage, it's going to be tough going into Philadelphia in January and beating them.
So why don't we just stay here and keep the conversation? What is the most surprising thing amongst these playoff teams, NFC and AFC, that you guys have noticed? Of the teams in contention, what's one of the more surprising things?
I'll start.
Yeah, Perna.
Oh, yeah, Brandon.
This is a 2-part answer to a 1-part question. Broncos, Bengals. Nobody but me thought the Broncos would be in this position, and here they are.
They have a good defense.
Ranked as the worst roster in the NFL by some idiots online to start the season. And I remember that well because I said, I know their roster isn't flashy. I made a video breaking it down. I said, if you want to put them at like the 25th, 24th best roster, fine. Bo Nix, the way he's been playing, surprising everybody for the 6th quarterback taken. But the players, they love Sean Payton. They have a great team, great chemistry they've built, and we have found players who are just studs. Everybody knows about PS2. Nick Bonito is on an insane tear right now. He's putting the numbers behind a defensive player of the year type caliber season. Opposite him, Jonathan Cooper, underrated edge player, does a lot of the dirty work really well. We got torched on Monday because Riley Moss wasn't playing, but Riley Moss, just another great draft pick by GM George Payton after our team had been crucified for, misses in draft picks and everything. And the Broncos offensive line, it's been like ranked top 3 like every week for pass protection. So we knew the line was decent last year, but seeing the difference of that line with Bo Nix versus Russell Wilson in terms of pass protection, all of those are pleasant surprises. I'm more surprised by the fall off of the Bengals defense and they're
lost a lot of pieces,
scoring a disgusting amount of points every single week and losing all of those games. Like if you're scoring 33, 38, 35 points and you have a 4-8 record for a fan base, that has got to be one of the most frustrating and annoying ways to watch your football team lose. So I think specifically after Lou, their defensive coordinator, had been touted as a head coaching candidate, as a defensive guru and genius. Like, this fall off is a little bit crazy to me in terms of I wouldn't be surprised by the Bengals not necessarily being in the mix because that division's tough. But the way it's happened, shocking to me.
I will say I was very low on Bo Nix, and I still am. He had a couple of flashes though, but we'll see if that can be sustained.
He's learning.
Over time.
I've got to ask
something where he went from the 32nd ranked QB to the 29th somewhere.
Yeah, the Ringer can eat shit, by the way. Sorry, Scooter.
Well, I think it's
no offense.
Oh, get 5. You wanted to go. Good.
Oh, Tree, will you ever believe? Will you ever believe? Tree?
Never
Why?
believe.
Why will you never? What will it take? What will it take, Tree?
The wild card.
Honestly, man, I believe that Pittsburgh's going to beat Denver if we play in the playoffs.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Dude,
wait.
It's Pittsburgh, Denver.
Oh, Russell Wilson. Did you see what he did against Cincy? I know that defense is terrible. 400 yards. He looked like prime Seahawks form. Oh, without Riley Moss, Russell Wilson's going off on you boys. Oh,
Riley,
dude, it's going to be your nightmare.
Just to go back to what Perna was saying about the Bengals, because I had them pretty low before the start of the season. I had them having a floor of 6-11, and it was because of 2 reasons. One, they had the 31st ranked rushing attack last year, which they fixed with Chase Brown. It took a while for them to get there this season, but they did, and I think he's been a really good running back. But then in terms of their rushing defense, they were 26th in points allowed. They were 21st, and last year they were 28th in passing defense. So they never really fixed that at all. Well, and it reminded me a lot of the Packers, in the 2011 run, where it's okay, you could have this juggernaut offense, though their offensive line is not great either, and they just have no defense whatsoever. And that's kind of what we've seen, unfortunately, this season from them. I think the bigger surprise for me is not the Bengals. I think it's how far the 49ers have dropped off. And I know that they are beat to hell. I know that they have a ton of injuries. Now CMC and Jordan Mason are on IR. But holy crap, man, that is a fall from grace when they were trying to make it work for one more year. They go sign Brandon Ayuk. And now in this offseason, they got to decide what they're paying Brock Purdy, what that's going to look like. They have an aging roster.
Samuel's probably gone. Kittle might be gone.
Dude, it's going to be they may have missed their window. And I mean, as a Packers fan, I'm very okay with that. But I did not expect it to be this much of falling off from the number 1 seed.
It's 2020 all over again for the 49ers. That's the problem. Everything around them has fallen apart. Every tragedy unspeakable. You've had 2 players lose their kids in tragic form. You've had a bunch of injuries. You've had just chaos everywhere you've strewn. Everything's blown up in their face. I mean, Christian McCaffrey might not be the same running back again, especially with the arthritic Achilles. But at the same time, it's just here's my question. Does Kyle Shanahan does it turn into an Andy Reid and Philly situation?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, do you think Christian McCaffrey considers retiring after?
Nah, he just extended it. He just signed an extension. I don't think he will.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see how
best in the nation.
Oh my gosh.
Jamal Adams to
I didn't
play.
I didn't even know if he was
tonight.
on the line.
Jamal Adams barely played in Tennessee.
Yeah, man.
He's
Like
not the
I'm
same
not gonna
guy.
lie. If there's any player, and this might blow up in my face, that doesn't scare me, it's Jamal Adams. I mean,
He's
but
getting
they're
a
just
pick
bringing
in
him
this
in to be
game.
linebacker.
Trust
yeah, of
me.
course
think
he
that's
will.
what he's
Because
suited
it's
to.
me, it's gonna happen. But
Someone clip it right now.
I know it's gonna blow up in my face, but yeah, no, I'm not.
Pick 6, first play.
Not too concerned.
Tom,
right.
staying
Oh.
with the Packers though, is there something that is surprising you? What's the biggest surprise from the Packers this season for
I
you?
think one of the takeaways, the amount of takeaways has been phenomenal for that defense.
Oh yeah,
and
I saw the whole NFC
North. Yeah,
North.
they're like leading
They've
in
got
takeaways.
like 3 of the 5 leading interceptors right now, right?
Yeah, it's insane because Kirby Joseph's up there.
Yeah,
Xavier
welcome.
McKinney is up there. Thank you again, 5. And just like that defense and just being so opportunistic, which has been great. The run defense has been better, especially these past few weeks. But it's also the commitment to Josh Jacobs in that ground game. I mean, the last couple weeks he's been going off, but if you were looking at it from just a pure like fantasy perspective, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Josh Jacobs not really doing too well." But the dude was getting a ton of yards on the ground, and the time of possession domination that they could do within that game to add that wrinkle to that offense has been awesome. Like Aaron Jones was great last year. Do not get me wrong, and especially in that Cowboys game. But they are very different types of running backs. And I think as it gets colder, having Josh Jacobs there, being able to take control of that game is going to make a huge difference.
That's fair. That is fair.
Did not see that, Bailey. I saw the enemy
I
got
have
fired,
something
right?
that I want to say.
Belichick, does he just want to be around more co-eds?
With a UNC job.
He's like, oh, 24-year-olds.
That UNC job. Here's something that I'm looking at as one of the biggest surprises for me out of a team that is competitive. We're going to go to the NFC East. We're going to go to Washington. The rise and fall of Jaden Daniels. It was crazy. He came out blazing. And now it's sort of, after he got injured, a lot of people are saying he's playing through that ribs injury. He's not the same. And he hasn't looked the same at all either. And so, to me, I'm looking at the last 4 games the Commanders have. They could end up losing 3 out of the 4 of these games. So it'll be interesting to see. It could be interesting to see if they even make the playoffs with the hot start that they had. So that's what I'm paying attention to as a Cowboys fan, especially because if we, for some reason, continue winning games, we technically are still in the hunt.
Oh, boy,
I
here we
don't
go.
know what we're doing.
Here we go.
Dude, the Cowboys are more delusional than you are right
Hey,
now. Micah
Dak is
Parsons
talking
saying,
about
like,
bring
he's
him
the
on
most-
back. Bring back Mike McCarthy. He deserves another shot. Come on, Scoots.
Please.
Get on board. We're doing it
Please.
again.
Do it.
As a
We're-
Giants fan.
Oh,
Please win
please.
enough games. Please win enough games. So it's like out of a top 10 pick, right? You're just going to be picking like middle of the pack. Even make the wild card. It's fine.
I don't know what we're doing, but I do
Yes.
know that Dak has
get
said
off
he's
them.
wanted every head coach back. It's not just Mike McCarthy. He wanted Jason Garrett back as
Yeah.
well.
Good move.
So it's just players protecting people they like, and they happen to like Mike McCarthy. Unfortunately, that has not translated into wins this season. 5, the biggest surprise from the Giants for you.
Well, I have two. I want to answer the general surprise is how there's all these teams, these really mediocre teams that are somehow hanging around. I am so surprised that the Cardinals, the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Falcons, all 4 of those teams are somehow one of those, 2 out of those 4 are going to make the playoffs, and they're terrible teams. Like they're just they're hard to watch. Like Kirk Cousins, what's happened to him? He's not the same player that he used to be. Yeah. And then Baker Mayfield, the Buccaneers just find ways to lose games. They find ways to win games. They find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. So you have 4 to 5 very mediocre teams just hanging around. Now for the Giants, the one thing that has surprised me is how efficiently they are tanking. Like they have figured out the system for tanking that I thought that only could be replicated by the Jaguars or the Carolina Panthers. You know what? I think I saw that a report that they might be interested in. There's a free agent quarterback out there that they're looking at bringing in, Daniel Jones. He hasn't played in a while. He's kind of hanging out on the Vikings practice squad. They could bring this guy in, and maybe he can help them tank. I mean, they have it. They have the cap room for sure.
The Giants.
I'm going to be honest, man. They're better guys. Is Mike Glennon? I think you can bring him back.
I'm just
Jake
saying.
Fromm is still around.
We got guys that can lead us to the promised land.
Ethan
That number
Ingram
one overall
on the
pick.
practice squad. He's not on the active roster currently.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that
I'm
means-
being facetious.
I
Oh,
do
I was about to
admire. I admire Scooter having optimism for the Cowboys.
It's not
saying
even
there's
that.
still a chance.
There is,
It's
because
at
look at our
3%.
schedule. Look
Scooter's
at our
holding on.
schedule.
All right, let's take a look at the schedule.
We play the Bengals. That's a winnable game. We play the
Nah,
Panthers.
not with your offense. Their offense is loaded. The Panthers actually look pretty good the last few weeks.
Mm.
We play the
been fighting.
Panthers. That's a winnable game. The
No.
Bucks have been sucking.
What
No
the Bucks?
way.
The Bucks
The
just
Bucks
struggled
are
against
they're
Panthers.
mid-tier. I mean, the thing is, the thing that's going to hold them back is ironically their head coach, Todd Bowles. But the thing too is like Tampa Bay can play a gritty, gutsy game. I mean,
Like,
you're not.
I think they're the
doing
best team in the
anything, Scooter.
South.
I'm
I
sorry.
think
we
You're-
play
I
the
mean, you're going to go like
Eagles.
7-11 or like 7-10, 8-9. Let's be real here.
Personally, I would like to lose. I would like to lose.
You're
the
not
game.
going to lose. Jerry's not going to let you lose.
Get
And
our
then he's
draft
going to think like, oh
in.
boy, I know football. Then
We're
they
going to
sign
end
Mike
up with
McCarthy
the
to a 10-year
24th pick
extension.
somehow.
Being
Like,
very
we
patient,
always
Brandon.
end up with a pick in the 20s somehow. So I'm used to that, and that's what I think is going to happen. Perna, what's going on?
Adam, question for you. To complete the
Yes.
tank for this season, who do you want manning the team on offense? Do you want it to be Drew Lock down the stretch or Tommy DeVito for the tank?
They're interchangeable. The offensive line is so porous. Like they're like
Porous? They're
yes.
in
They're like a
water.
blanket that's been shot with buckshot, and it's just holes, and you're trying to get water with the blanket of the New York offensive line. Drew Lock was bad in his game, and then Tommy DeVito got crushed. Like
Yeah, he got
they are
beat
just
Got destroyed.
yeah. So it really doesn't matter who's back there. The Giants are driving the tank right off the cliff into the horseshoe of
How do you-
the desert.
How
One
do you
more
feel that
question,
you
Adam.
Yes.
lost and still moved down to number 3 because the Raiders have
Because the Raiders are the most tanking ass bitches I've ever seen. They had an opportunity to tie or beat the damn Chiefs, and then they go and snap the ball directly into Aiden O'Connell's nuts when he's not even paying attention, and then they just give that was so intentional. That should be investigated.
They're not going to. The NFL loves the Chiefs. They want to get that Taylor Swift money.
I'm
Come
just
on.
saying, like they had the game.
Everyone knew they were going
playing
to blow it.
with
Everyone knew
efficiency.
it.
Yeah, I know they were gonna miss the field goal, but still, at least give them the chance. and then the Panthers, what they're doing,
they're looking
Oh my
better.
God.
Dude,
Adam,
dude,
True, Adam.
Bryce Young isn't a total loss. He looks a lot better.
That's right. Bryce Young looking all right.
Does
But
this
they
look
had
like
the
he actually
opportunity-
wants to beat the Chiefs?
He might be playing for his job again. He has his limitations at this level, but at the same time, I mean, still, he looks a lot better. And I mean, he actually looks like a passable, potentially starting caliber quarterback in this league.
How will you feel if you don't get the first overall pick and it's like 4th or 5th?
it
Oof.
depends. Like if the Jags get the first overall, because they are the Tank Bowl champions. By the way, I think the Rams have had the most number 1 overall picks in NFL history.
You mentioned the Rams and the
with
Colts.
7. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Colts with 7. But the Jags they're coming. If there was a ring for winning the number 1 overall pick, I think the Jags would have several
Maybe a
of those.
dynasty,
but
3 and 5 years.
If they get the number 1 overall pick, it doesn't bother me because we're taking Cam Ward number 2. But if somebody quarterback needy just tank like the Raiders, we're gonna fight over that. Like
Raiders,
because it's
Titans.
Be okay
the
with
Giants
Cam
want Ward.
You would be
The
okay.
Giants
Cam
want
Ward,
Ward.
QB1
Mhm.
starting for the Giants.
Mhm. Yes.
Do you want Joe Shane back?
Interesting.
I don't see any reason not to bring them back. Like they haven't. I know Giants fans are calling for both their heads.
Travis.
Right?
What did you just say? Did
But-
you just say you see no reason why?
Yeah,
Joe
because
Shane-
organization. organizational changeover is unhealthy. It's not something. It's not a winning formula. And if you're just going to keep churning through,
Five. I'm sorry to
Oh,
interrupt.
winning
You're talking about the
formula,
Chicago Bears.
Five.
Look how
You
good
know
they
why
are
the
doing right now.
Eagles are so good this year? It's because of one person. One person, and his name is Saquon Barkley, who is putting the Eagles on his back and carrying them to victory.
He's not the keystone. He was the final piece. That's the thing, Scooter.
If the Eagles didn't have Saquon, they would be a mid-team. What are we talking about? You don't see any reason why Joe Shane should.
If
I
the
would
Eagles
sign
Josh Scooter's just like, you're not a real team.
Resign Saquon, and we wouldn't be here.
Brother, you're just jealous because your idea of a running back is Dalvin Cook and burned ass Ezekiel Elliott. Come on, we know this.
Hold on.
You can get Saquon in 5 years when he's washed.
Rico Dowdle is fine. He will be fine. We don't even need to take a running back one in the first round.
You're gonna get Gene T. That's who you're gonna get.
What I'm saying
Jerry Boy loves his stuff.
If the Eagles didn't have Saquon, we would not be talking about them as one of the best teams in the NFL. And then
drink that copium, brother. That copium is just you are.
If Saquon,
what are we talking about? We can be like at the games that Saquon single-handedly won. It's Saquon and the Eagles defense. That's what
because Saquon's a really good running back, brother.
That's what I'm saying. And Joe Shane failed to sign him and signed who instead?
So Scooter wants Shane to be fired just because
I want to be quite frank
because the Eagles have
Tyrone Tracy is not a bad running back.
So
mathematically, okay.
Singletary is not Saquon. Singletary is not putting the Giants on his back.
Well, Devin Singletary is not a Saquon caliber back. He's not even their starter anymore.
This is what I'm saying. You're making my point. 5. How can explain it to me?
I mean, if you're thinking about that, it's not even Saquon. If you want to blame it for anybody, Leonard Williams and Julian Love in Seattle.
I don't know.
X-Man in Green Bay.
Yeah, Xavier McKinney's nice.
Listen, John Mara had a lot of influence over the decisions that were being made. Okay, and so he said, even in the Hard Knocks thing, he was like, "Put it on me." Okay, he was like, "Put it on me. If this doesn't work out, put it on me." So you can't do that and then turn around and fire the guy. Shane, I've been critical of Shane, but mathematically he followed all the right. He pulled the right levers. They just didn't work out. So give him a chance to draft his own quarterback and get rid of all these Dave Gettleman pieces that are left over in this horrible roster. Like they inherited a horrible team, a horrible quarterback. Like Daniel Jones has not been the guy. And the one thing that happened was Dable was able to coach him up enough to get into the playoffs. And that might have been the worst thing for Dable. Then that might cost him his job.
The worst thing to happen was Ed Donatel completely caving. That's what happened. Ed Donatel was out here playing 3-dimensional chess.
You're saying it's Gettleman's guys, but he extended Gettleman's guy and didn't give Saquon a contract.
No,
I agree.
No,
well, that's fine. I mean, I feel like they'll be back. So I'm already coping with the fact that they are going to be back.
I think there's a couple things here. About it. One, okay, there's so many things to look at. I agree with 5. Like Dable, I would keep around. Dable, I would definitely keep around. Give him a chance. Shane, I don't know about that, but give him a chance to legit draft a quarterback and not inherit a team that had some stars on it, but they couldn't keep any of them because of the mismanagement of the previous front office. 1. 2, when it comes to the Eagles, Saquon Barkley definitely elevates that offense a significant amount. Right. And they were still good with DeAndre Swift. Don't get me wrong. And when they got rid of Swift and sent him to the Bears, even people were like, oh, I don't know about that. But getting Saquon has been a game changer. However, the other thing that they did address besides replacing coordinators, which was, you have Matt Patricia on the team. You're already doing poorly. But that secondary was not good last year for Philadelphia. They were battered. And they so far.
And their linebacking core was terrible.
They have hit a home run at those positions by getting Mitchell, who has been phenomenal. Cooper DeJean has been fantastic as well. And it's that combination. So I agree that Saquon definitely elevates that because they still got A.J. Brown, who's an excellent wide receiver. I know Devontae Smith has been hurt too. That offense I still think would be good. But we're talking more about the defense, I think, if there wasn't Saquon. But because they have both, I think that's why they're in the position that they're in. So they are a good team because they addressed three arguably of their biggest needs in coordinators, in secondary, and in the run game. And it's paid off.
I'm just saying.
You put Saquon back on the Giants. How many wins do they have? 4?
Yeah, he wins an extra game or 2 for them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's his WAR is +2. So
y'all are the Commanders if you still have Saquon. Y'all are the Commander. I'm telling you,
8-5
is built different. Saquon is built different.
They
don't have a defense. They don't have an O-line. They have no receivers.
Yeah.
Danny Derps
The
is their
Giants are
quarterback.
bad. They're so bad.
Y'all are bad, but what was worse was letting Saquon.
Man, you are huffing that copium, my man. All the copium.
I wouldn't want that.
What have we all talked about our team? Have you?
What was your surprise?
I have not. I'm too busy huffing the copium and the hopium of the Steelers. I'm hoping that too. Just like Brandon huffing that hopium. Biggest surprise for me is Russell Wilson. He's actually looking less like a low-end starter. He's looking like somebody you might be able to bring back next year. I know, especially with how he's been performing. I mean, the only real bad game he had was against Baltimore, but for the most part, he's been relatively solid. He's had a very conservative offense. He's been finding chemistry with George Pickens and Calvin Austin. He's mostly been spreading the ball around. He's had good balance with that offense. I would say also, I mean, there's still some issues on there, Jones, but otherwise, more or less, it's turning into a relatively mid-tier unit. But in terms of my overall team, I would have to say Seattle. I don't know how they're leading the NFC West, especially when the fact that they had like no running game for like 2 months. Geno Smith is the epitome of mercurial. Their defense was giving up yards in mass, especially to the run early on. Their offensive line's been iffy. I mean, they lost to the Giants, but now it's just like, we won, and now we're 7-5. It's just like,
dude, they're also in a weird ass division in which the 49ers are not the threat that, there's not a threat. The Rams are like this weird team where like Jared Verse has been playing really well. And like, he's been a great staple on that defense. That pass rush has been better than people anticipate, but offensive line woes still, like, they're not reaching their full potential. And then the Cardinals, like, they were my underdog team, my dark horse beforehand, but they also have massive holes on that roster that still need to be fixed. And I still think they could potentially get there. It's
going to take a bit. I think the question is, Kyler can steal games, but he does have his flaws. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why I call him a cock tease.
Oh gosh, we have not talked about either the Jets being terrible or the Vikings being way better. People were writing off the Vikings for sure, and then the Jets had such high expectations, and they were so down.
The Jets are so. I'm disappointed in the Jets. I'm disappointed in their defense.
That's been the most disappointing.
Fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I said earlier, that's why I had them in the playoffs. Like, they have everything else around them. They have a really great running game, powerful wide receivers. Their offensive line starting to get back into form. Their defense was one of the best, especially in terms of secondary play, pass rush, Will McDonald coming into his own. If Aaron Rodgers were at least league average, they would have made the playoffs. And the problem is Aaron Rodgers hasn't been league average. He's falling off a cliff. They have no running game as a result. Devontae Adams is a panic move. He hasn't really done there. And their defense is just, oh my God. What the hell happened?
You guys see what Aaron Rodgers said in response to him coming back next season? Did we see that?
He said a lot of things, hasn't he?
He said a lot of things.
He basically
coming
said
back,
he was
maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
He was planning on sticking around for a couple more seasons, is what Aaron Rodgers said.
Yeah, especially with the way he's playing right now. I mean, I don't know if he's got to become a Viking in the NFL.
Do you think that Aaron Rodgers plays 2 more seasons with the Jets? Yes.
Oh my God, no.
No. They have a better chance of bringing back Sam Darnold.
Dude,
which is very possible.
Signing Sam Darnold. I think
that sounds like a Jet thing.
With the Vikings, I'm not surprised that Sam Darnold's like playing well. I'm surprised that he's playing at the level he is, coupled with the fact that, like Rodgers, Kirk Cousins is playing terrible as well.
Well, remember the combination, what happened, both of them? Torn Achilles.
Yeah. No, they are both older gents, and they both tore their Achilles, and that apparently is not a recipe for being
I was reading a Brett Coleman tweet, too, that every time they're in, like, a single back set or like under center, they run to the right, because what happens is that with he can only pull off it, or they run because they can't with Kirk Cousins' Achilles, like he can't really pivot to his left-hand side, so they can't run to the left.
Well,
weird. That is some nerdy stuff only Brett would notice.
Do you know whose stats are very similar to Aaron Rodgers this year? It's Patrick Mahomes. It's literally, they have near identical stats. Like taking a look right now, Rodgers is 26-27 in yards. Mahomes is 29-79. They both have 19 touchdowns. Mahomes has thrown 11 interceptions. Aaron has thrown 8 interceptions.
But do you want to know the defense?
Optically, they have been
Jets don't.
Numbers.
Defense, big
Never
difference.
trust numbers. Numbers are the biggest liars I've ever.
Colts
met.
fans will tell you that with Anthony Richardson.
Sport like that, like you look like that's why it's a team sport, because you look at the defenses, and I completely agree with Tree. I looked at the Jets this year, and I go, even if they get above average Zach Wilson, if you bring back the exact team as last year, it's bad offensive line, 100%, they'll still be able to win football games. But holy God, did that defense fall off a mountain?
And it fell off once they fired Saleh.
Yeah.
And the one thing like that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, I think, with Aaron Rodgers is the thing that made him so good, like most quarterbacks, like Mahomes, is game on the line, final drive. He wins or scores every time. This year, he's 0 for 5 on game.
Oh, yeah.
With possibilities
Denver,
to do game-winning drives.
Colts.
Like, that's why, like, you go and you look at Mahomes, like, oh, yeah, his numbers can be whatever, but they still win games. Josh Allen, if he's got the ball in his hand last, the Bills are going to win. And, of course, now we're talking about Sam Darnold in that same category.
Well,
the Darnold, because the Vikings win a lot of close games.
It's interesting because we have a very interesting Thursday night football game coming up tonight. Detroit Lions taking on the Green Bay Packers. Let's defer to our in-house Packers resident, Tom Grassi. Take us through your thoughts on this game. Who do you have winning and why?
Yeah, no, I know I'm just going to come off like a homer, and that's totally fine. But I think the Packers are going to win this game. I think they are catching Detroit at a really, really good time, or I should say a really bad time if you're a Lions fan. I think it's still going to be a close game, playing at Ford Field. The Packers were able to limp in on Thanksgiving last year and beat the Lions. And this year, I think just the momentum, the run game is looking good. The turnovers are great. And again, the Lions they are struggling on defense with all those injuries. And I think if the Packers can control time possession, the pass rush has gotten a little bit better these past few weeks as well, then the Packers should be able to get a W here. I mean, you look at that first game, and Detroit, it was a really close first half until that pick six. And then they scored another touchdown, and then it just wasn't close enough for it to actually be a game. So you look at the offense, like they didn't do a ton, talking about the Lions in that game. So I think the Packers, if they're able to put up points, which I think they should be able to do against this defense tonight, we'll be rocking.
All right, let's get some non-homer takes. You heard what Tom said, Perna, Tree, or 5. What is your response to that? Who do you have winning this game?
We'll see
tonight.
I've got the Packers as well, so a little fist bump down there for you, Tom. I just think that they're catching the Lions at a right time. They had to empty the clip just to beat the Bears. And so if the Packers just come strong and play their game, they should be able to take this dub tonight. But it's something crazy is going to happen though. Some team might get out to a big lead and then it'll be chipped away, but it'll be down to the last possession for sure. That's usually where games end.
Usually how it is with the NFL these days, especially. Makes sense.
The game usually ends on the last possession.
It'll be like, well, that's what the NFL wants. I mean, why would you rather watch a blowout, or would you rather watch something that goes tight?
I'm sorry. What? We're using this against the Packers? Did you see the Thanksgiving game played against the Bears where they choked away that second half lead?
And it should be beaten.
Thank you.
We're correcting grammar on Clickbait Sports.
So, Perna, Tree, who's winning tonight? Who do you have? Why?
I would say, honestly, I'm going to be the contrarian. I think the Lions win because I feel like what Jordan Love are we going to get? Are we going to get his slinging motion? Or are we going to get the Brett Favre? I'm going to throw it into triple coverage deep.
Toyota-thon, Jordan Love hasn't thrown interceptions in 2 weeks. Let's go, even though one of them should have been picked up.
Well, that's
the question. You just jinxed him. Congratulations. But the thing, too, my question is, I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to come down to Jake Bates' walk-off field goal. I think he gets revenge for last one.
Jake Master Bates.
Special teams player of the week for the NFC, Jake Bates. I'm going with the Lions.
His first field goal last week. He's going to fight for revenge.
Yeah, I know. I think the Packers are actually the hot pick right now. And everything Tom has said logically makes sense. It all makes sense. But I just think the Lions are that team this year. So I'm gonna keep riding with them on that. And I think the Packers they're at a point where they could be that team. But I don't know. Just go in Detroit.
You know what? I'm going with the Lions as well. Going with the Lions as well, simply because I like the home field advantage here. I think it's going to be pivotal and come into play more than we think. So literally just home field advantage. Again, I'm agreeing everything that you're saying, Tom. Accurate. I hear you. But I'm with Tree. Tree was saying that what version of Jordan Love are we getting? I did see some stats on Jordan Love. He's like killing the game right now. He's like first in a whole bunch of categories for quarterbacks. But is that going to translate in an away game in Detroit? This could be his coming out party, or this could be, this is what we thought party. So we'll see. I'm very interested to see the outcome of this game because it's going to give us a lot of information about who's for real in the NFC.
Tree, I have a question. If I were in a state where it's available to me, where would I sort of be able to project picks?
I agree with that personally. I think, quite frankly, I think we all need a Christmas gift after this long Thanksgiving season.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Underdog, the partner of the stream, giving us degenerates cheer. Test your might and skill with a pick'em game. Higher or lower, the choices are never the same. Daily promos throughout the NFL season, a feast on your plate. Here's a special code to make things sweeter. Clickbait. Get up to $1,000 in bonus cash in your first deposit. A special pick in the lobby, there will be no respite. Oh, Underdog, you fill us with glee. Always remember to play responsibly.
So, Han, how many do we have for the Lions? We got 2 or 3? 2 or 3 for the Lions?
3 to 2.
Okay.
Well, it's me and you, Tom.
Tom's taking it very personal, and I love it. This stat is hilarious, though.
Kick the Cardinals' ass, but okay. All right. Well,
that
was Houston. You mean the one that Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions to? That one? Just want to ask him for.
It's Caleb Williams quickly becoming one of the most polarizing quarterbacks because everyone is like he's a bust in my chat there, and I'm like the dude's talented. What are you talking about?
Dude, he's got I don't know if they're going to be able to develop him, but that's the age-old question.
As I said, I'm looking forward to him as a Steeler in 3 years. I'm looking forward to when that happens.
I don't think he is a bust just yet. We will see. If there's not anything else, rather, we can just go to the countdown.
Let's do it.
Come on, guys.
I think Steelers got Super Bowl. We're going to beat the Packers and...
Yeah, baby. Here we go. Packers Lions tonight. Gonna get it. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 4. Jordan Love going up for field, gonna silence the roar. That's right. You're gonna say, Tom, how could that be? When the Packers score 63 and cry. Cry, Lions. You cry and you cry. I do think Packers win.
It's not lazy,
I've been looking forward to this game ever since our first match of the season. I can't wait for tonight. I'm so excited.
Kidding me?
I will start. I got $125.96.
Whoa, Kip!
Whoa, Kip at the end.
Nice.
Oh, let's go!
I'll take it. I have 71.97. I am not winning. Thank the Lord.
I should have to watch that, Kip. You're right.
I have $16.98.
No. You're watching the Kansas City Chiefs.
The Hallmark. It's got to be the Kansas City Chiefs Hallmark.
You're watching the Hallmark movie.
I know I'm going to get punished for the documentary one day. I know. That's fine. That's totally fine. By the way, I made $129.12.
Ooh.
Nice. I'm out.
Kip,
who's the winner?
I got 2, 6, 3.
Oh, you tipped it. He tipped it at the end.
He's got to watch the Hallmark Chiefs movie
Yes.
1,000,000%. And I'm thinking like a
Yes.
PowerPoint or a slide, just like a presentation.
Yeah. Tell us,
It has
allow
to
us
be.
to not watch it. Yes.
I know I'm going to get punished for the documentary. It's going to happen. That's fine.
yeah.
I've already made my peace with
Like,
it.
dude, I have to eat a Danger Witch. I still have to.
What do you guys think would be worse? That KFC movie? Remember when KFC did a movie with Mario Lopez, or this
Honestly, I don't even
Hallmark?
remember it.
I will watch
Yeah.
anything with Mario
The-
Lopez.
The one thing, remember when FIFA did United Passions, that propaganda piece about themselves? It would be like that.
We don't take
Hallmark
bribes.
Chiefs movie.
Why would we do
So
that?
we are in agreement. It has to be Perna watching the Hallmark Chiefs movie, and we need a 5-page PowerPoint presentation on what you learned or discovered through this
Yeah.
you
What was
guys.
the
What
meaning?
Hallmark
that
movies
you
are so
learned.
predictable. It's
What
the
was
same
the
thing.
transformative meaning?
We need the
Patrick
plot.
Mahomes just to pull that. Oh no, there's a flag. Too unpredictable on the Hallmark movie. Women fall in love.
Oh,
Chiefs win the
man.
Super Bowl.
I'm so glad that
Oh, yeah. No,
it's
it's
not
gotta-
me.
I mean, dude, it has Mrs. Kelsey in it.
Hey,
No,
Mama
she's actually in it.
Yeah, I think Andy
Mama
Reid's
Kels?
in it too.
Oh, that's
they brought
good.
Mahomes. Yeah, like 2 lines.
I love it. And you have to have a slide of all positive things about it.
Oh,
You got to find some positives in it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
treat it like
positives,
a film
negatives.
review.
buddy, I
just watch it
believe
like 1.5
that you're gonna
seconds.
watch that movie, son.
I don't even know if I have Hallmark. How the hell do I watch this shit?
I can give you a website. You
Pirate
can
it.
find some things.
Pirate it.
Perna, what you got coming out?
Oh,
Who, me?
You, Perna. Grand-
Tomorrow we'll be dropping our Andrew Luck video, so come back tomorrow.
Nice.
there you go. Tree?
I'm gonna finally start working on that damn NHL video I've been wanting to do for God knows how long. I still have to write it out, but it's like, oh,
Oh, it's
God.
on Peacock apparently.
Ooh,
Oh, it's on Peacock.
5.
Cock.
I got the cock.
I'm going to do a video
It says
on
P.
how the Giants are doing everything right. They know exactly what they are doing.
Uh-huh.
All right,
and
it's
y'all
good.
call me delusional. And y'all call me delusional. That's crazy. I'm
Mhm.
working on a college
That's the fit.
football meeting, similar to the NFC East meetings, but we're going to try college football. Let's see how that plays out.
There you go. I'll be streaming tonight at 8 p.m. Packers, Lions, and afterwards post-game and reaction. We're going to rock and we're going to roll. Let's go.
Also, I just came out with a video of hidden features inside NFL stadiums. And did you know that there's a whole apartment inside the Kansas City Chiefs stadium? Like a 3-bedroom apartment. You'll have to
New
watch the video
punishment
to
for
find
Perna?
out.
Is that where they keep their criminals?
No, there's also a
the
jail cell
Chiefaholic
in,
is in there.
Oh,
yeah.
I was wondering where that guy was.
Yes.
I thought